Hey everyone, first of all, happy Ramadan, and I hope you enjoyed the previous video about the subject-verb agreement topic and found something useful. Today, I'm gonna basically walk you through the writing questions of the English module, okay? So I'm gonna be showing the exact way I would be solving the writing questions, so stay with me. So let's get down to business. First of all, guys, speaking generally about the writing questions, the first thing you don't wanna do is that you don't start with the reading text actually in the writing part. Why? I personally start with the options because I just want to know what you're testing from me. Because depending on the topic, I would be switching on my detective mode for that topic specifically. For example, if you're talking about or testing me on punctuation, so I would be more cautious with the dependent, independent clauses. But if it's about transition questions, I would be more careful with the meaning rather than its structure. Okay, so starting with the options would be better. So basically you just have to start from the options and know what you're asking and then start reading. Okay, so let's see in practice. Okay, here for example, in the very first question we have options, right? And from the options I can say that obviously that's a question of tenses, because almost in almost every option we have different tenses. Depicts, depict, have depicted, are depicting. So when it comes to tense, guys, you just have to be careful with the tense. Okay, so see, are you talking about facts or one-time situation or something that's gonna happen in the future? So you start with the text. An early anatomical drawing by Leonardo da Vinci dates back. So I'm paying attention to tense here. Dates back, so it is present. So to the late 15th century. The sketch, the structure of the human arm, illustrates, you see, it's again present, and notes. So again present, so obviously that's gonna be present simple tense. Well, now we have option A and B. It should be A because the subject is in singular. A, that's all. Sketch depicts. Second question, for example. Here we have a question of pronouns. You see, we have one, that, these, seeds. Okay, I just look at the sentence and find the subject and verb. We have provide here and diaries as subject. So our pronoun should come with the subject, which is diaries. Diaries in plural. So I have to choose plural pronoun. So here it's gonna be a lot easy. So only plural pronoun here is gonna be D. So A, B, C are out because they're all singular. Okay, so next one, it's again the question of tenses. So you have to read the sentences and pay attention to the tense of the sentences. Okay, the San Francisco earthquake was a major it's in pause, was a major seismic event that struck Northern California in 1906. So during the disaster, so we are talking about the situation actually happened only once, right? During the disaster something happened, we say, because in the previous sentence it was also past. The intense shaking and subsequent fires. So only option with past tense is D, destroyed. That's all. Easy as this. So, and question number 4. So far, so easy, right? Now let's see question 4. So look guys, here in option, as you see, we have question of punctuation, kind of. We have full stop with nothing, comma, and end. Look, the only options that gets my immediate attention is option A. Why is that? Because it is the only option that can link to independent clauses. And I'm not saying that because the only option that can link to independent clauses, choose and move on. No, don't do so. It doesn't work all the time. So instead, what you should do is to find that two independent clauses. If you have, then do so. If not, no. Go for other options. For example, here, because it's punctuation, guys, you just have to start with the blanket sentence from the very beginning of the blanket sentence, not the very first sentences. No. So, for example, what decreases is the depth of field visible in photograph. Now ask yourselves. So, is that independent? What decreases is the depth. Yes. So we have the subject, what decreases, and is as verb. But it's not over. Because after the full stop, you have to make sure you have the second independent clause. So with a narrow aperture setting, conversely, the lens limits incoming light but keeps both. So clearly we have the second independent clause here. Subject being the lands, verb like limits and keeps. So that's all, that's clear. So we have two independent clauses. Only option is A. B, C, or D are all out. So that's all. I don't have to check the rest. So next one, 5. Almost the same kind of punctuation, and we have semicolon, colon here, comma, dash, and nothing. So look, colon, like in the previous part, it can link also to independent clause, or it can also give us listing, or it can give us description. Okay, so you have to check for this. For example, the first part, in 1930s, the Tennessee Valley Authority implemented a regional planning initiative that, using hydroelectric dams and flood control, modernized the economy of the southern United States. Obviously, there is no independent clause after the colon, right? Okay, so there is no listing as well. Okay, there is no actual description because starting with verb. So A will be out. So if you pay close attention, guys, here we have the Tennessee Valley Authority as subject implemented something initiative and that. And you see, guys, after that we have a comma. And that indicates what? In that clause, which usually doesn't come with commas, you just have non-essential in the that clause. So that means this comma belongs to non-essential. So your non-essential actually till flood control, okay? And if you remove this part, it will make sense. For example, the Tennessee Valley Authority implemented a regional planning initiative that, removing non-essential, that modernized the economy. So basically it's clear that this part will become non-essential, and as it's starting with a comma, you just have to end with a comma as well. So only option will be B. Okay, so take away from this, there is a comma at the beginning, and at the end there should be a comma as well. That's all. Question number 6. Okay, here, so as you pay attention, guys, the subject is gonna change here. So here competition, would, subject competition. Here the subject is price. Here we have money. Then we have the council organizer. Okay, so look, guys, that indicates what? That gives indication of it is actually modifier question. So when it's modifier question, guys, you have to find the modifier, know its meaning, and find, kind of think logically, what subject can do this modifier action. Okay, it's more of a logical thinking here. So modifier, intending to honor the town's bicentennial. So okay, so we have this action done by the subject. So the subject should be able to intend to honor the town's bicentennial. Okay. A, competition. Competition was intending to honor the town's bicentennial. Kind of makes sense. Okay, it's possible. What about B, price? But money cannot intend to honor anything, right? So logically incorrect. C, the same. Price and money cannot have such a, let's say, intention. What about D, the Springfield Town Council? So I think that's going to be more logical for people or organization to have an intention to honor people, right? So from this we can say D is going to be correct. In modifier questions you have to use and like kind of think logically here. Okay, next question, guys. Well, in 7. Okay, again here. So the options that gets my immediate attention is C. Why? Because again, it is the only option that can link to independent clauses. Well, for example, let me check. Do we have or no? So Willie records remained the dominant music. So we have subject and verb. So in the first part we do have, but we still have to make sure the second part is independent as well. Well, these distinct discs were gradually. So we have two independent clauses, and I just choose C and move on. Because the rest cannot link to independent clauses, guys. That's all. Well, you might be curious, what about D option, right? What about that clause? In some cases it can link, but imagine that clause links the next idea to the previous noun, but century, that these distinct discs, it doesn't make any sense. That's why D is out of option as well. Well, question number 8. Now you're up to the transition. Here, I don't really care about the structure, it's more about the meaning here. So people just say, you can just read 2 sentences, it's gonna be enough, right? Yes, in most of the cases it works. I just wanna be but I just want to be personally on the safe side and start from the very beginning. In his 1845 maps of the American West, cartographer this person aims to depict the rugged topography of the Rocky Mountains. I will paraphrase here. So this person wants to describe the landscape of kind of a place, let's say. Then, of course, a printed map does not technically reproduce the physical elevation of the land. Here they are talking about its limitation, right? So, of course, map cannot do kind of everything. The paper is strictly two-dimensional. Continue. So it's again the paper limits to only two dimensions. Still limitation of the work he did here. Next part. By using dense shading to indicate steep slopes, Fremont offers a reliable impression. You see the change here in the tone? In the previous sentence, they were talking about how limited it was. Kind of disadvantage, right? But in the second, like in the next sentence, they're talking about positive mode, like how it was reliable actually, how it offered reliable impression. So we have negative tone and positive tone, so it's contrast. So you just have to choose from the options contrast here. So moreover is used to give the following kind of new idea for the same tone. For example, if it's negative, you have to go on with a negative idea. If it's positive, you have to give new positive idea. For example, if you're talking about bad habits of some person, for example, Mario is watching a lot of movies, right? Furthermore, she's not going to school, for example. You see, I'm listing the bad habits of a person, but that's not the case. So A is out. That said, that is contradiction, kind of, because we use that said to actually show contradictory case with the previous idea. See, in other words, so it's more about paraphrasing your previous idea. It's like almost the same idea, but just paraphrased version. It doesn't make sense. There's no example as well. So question number 9. Okay, here in notes questions, actually just read the this part. It's enough. You don't even read the question. So the student wants to indicate where the short story takes place. So students usually go for and read the notes sometimes, but I wouldn't recommend. You're just going to waste your time. So when you can read the notes? Only when you have two less contradictory options. In that case, you can go and read notes. Why? Because in some cases there is misinformation in the options, okay? So to avoid that, you can go and read, but in some other cases, you don't really have to. For example, here you just have to pay attention to where short story takes place, right? So where it's happening. Okay, so the gift of Maggie takes place in New York City. Okay, that's the obvious answer. Okay, just for sake of explanation, I'm gonna read the following as well. The gift of Maggie was published in, it's about publishing, right? So not taking place. C, gift of Maggie is told, no. So D, the gift of Maggie was written, no, it's not about writing. So next one, okay, that was easy, stupidly easy actually. Next question, again, 10. Student wants to define the term georeferencing. Okay, here now in the option you have to talk about the definition of georeferencing. What is georeferencing? Okay, you have to specifically give it. For example, option A, 2019 project by somebody assigned geographic coordinates to satellite images of shoreline and also used georeferencing. No guys, in option A there is no definition. They're just saying we have, for example, used georeferencing, but are they explaining what it is? No, so it's out. Malika, whatever, co-workers used georeferencing in the study of some of the earliest known satellite images of Florida's coast. Almost the same. They're just saying that they used it, but they don't explicitly say what it is, right? They don't explain, but we need a definition. C. Georeferenced satellite images from something can help scientists study long-term changes. So it's more about its benefit, but what it is actually we don't know. So D, georeferencing is the process of assigning geographic coordinates. Okay, that's clearly it, right? It's a definition. So what's georeferencing? It is the act of doing something. So that's D. Okay, the next one. So here, the student wants to indicate how Crockett, Texas got its name. Okay, so we have to show how it was named. Pay attention to how. Okay, Crockett, Texas shares its name with something else. Okay, it just says that it's a namesake with something else, but it doesn't show any how it was named. B. Davy Crockett National Forest is named after the folk hero who fought at the Alamo. So actually we have the how it was named. It was named after somebody, but it's not Texas, it's something else. So that's why it's out as well. So known as the king of the world, something Davy Crockett served. Okay, so there's nothing about the Crockett, Texas. Okay, so D. Crockett, Texas is named after Davy Crockett. Here we have the exact answer we were looking for. So I think that's the last. Okay, the last two questions here. The student wants to contrast the two hypotheses of telescopes, guys. Here we have to show the contrasting part of two telescopes. We have to kind of compare, right? And shows your differences. So what are the keywords for the differences, for comparison, for contrasting? So keywords will be like whereas, while, sometimes on the other hand. Let's see, refracting and reflecting telescopes can be found in the exhibits and something in California. Okay, there's nothing about comparison, contrasting actually. It's more of a actually similarity, I would say, because both telescopes can be found at one place. So no contrast. B. Featuring information on refracting and reflecting telescopes. Okay, the used information. Okay, there's no contrast again. It's actually about observatory, which is a popular landmark. So D. Reflecting telescopes use curved mirrors to gather and focus light, whereas refracting telescopes use glass lenses. Okay, it's just a clear contrast. So we are contrasting reflecting telescopes to refracting. Okay. D. Among the exhibits, something are refracting. Okay. No, it's not even close. So that's gonna be C, guys. For the last question, which is usually again notes question. So look, the student wants to use a quotation to challenge Lloyd's explanation of resource use. That's a very interesting question actually. Why? So look guys, you need the quotation to challenge this person's of explanation, right? Okay, so we need the quotation. According to Harden's tragedy of the common theory, whenever individuals acting in their own self-interest access shared resource, depletion is likely. Well, in option A, there is no mention like reference to Lloyd's explanation actually at all, so it's out. B. Lloyd wrote that resource depletion was inevitable, although Ostrom later challenged the universality of this claim. Okay, this might be tempting, guys. But look, we need quotation to challenge his idea. So we need the quotation from somebody else, not his own, let's say, quotation. So this is going to be out as well. Okay, so C, according to Ostrom, communities often preserve resources through rules and norms, not the inevitable depletion Lloyd described. Okay, here we have another person and actually his quotation as well, because the communities often preserve resources through something. So there is actually going against what he explained it as well. So this can be the answer. But let's see option D as well. Lloyd explains that depletion was caused by the utilitarian advantage to the individual. Again, this quotation belongs to Lloyd, but we need from somebody else to challenge him or his idea. But Hardin disagreed, seeing the situation as an example. You see, there is no quotation as well. You see how they're going to trick you? So D option will be out as well. So C will be correct. So that's all, guys. This is exact way how you should be solving, I guess, the writing questions of the English module, guys. I hope you found something useful here. Follow us for more content, for more useful information. Okay, so take care.